welcome to Crossing Streams podcast, the podcast that delves into the ins and outs of live streaming. I'm here for episode 3. Yes, we've made it to 3 episodes, even in a lockdown. We're doing really well, you guys. And I'm here joined by my lovely, wonderful co-host, Melula. Hello, Mel.
Hello.
Yay! It's Mel, everybody. And today...
I'm back.
Yeah, she's back. She's back. She wasn't here for episode 2. Sorry, Mel.
Oh.
Sorry. But she's back. And you might be wondering, who is this? Who is this bearded stranger in the middle of the screen? It's the wonderful, the real guy judge. Hi, guy.
Hello.
We're just doing like creepy fingers at you there. Me and Mel are like, creepy fingers.
Hello.
Show us
Nice
your
to-
fingers.
nice to see you guys. Yeah.
Show us your fingers. Show us your fingers. Guy, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
I'm very happy to be here.
How have you been?
like-
It's rather early there.
I've been pretty good. Yeah, it's early. I just got up. You know, that's why I have such a good radio voice right now. But,
Do you-
yeah, it's been all right.
What times do you tend to since it's a streaming podcast, do you tend to stream later in the day, your time?
Generally, I've been streaming like 6 p.m. Till whenever, but since the whole quarantine stuff happened, it's just all over the place. Just like I'm like, hey guys, whenever I feel like streaming, I'm going to stream because there's more of an audience kicking around now because not everyone's working. So the past couple days I've done morning streams, so that's helped me get up today.
And Mel, your streaming timetables changed as well during the lockdown. How's your
Oh,
timetable
God.
changed?
Yeah, I stream evenings 3 to 4 times a week. We've been doing daily lunchtime streams Monday to Friday, which I've been really enjoying, just to try and give my working weekday some sort of structure.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, yeah, I feel like I need set points to do things very similarly. Otherwise, I just won't get up and do anything.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. At the moment, I'm kind of furloughed myself from my own company, and all of my other work's been put back. So I'm kind of finding with the streaming, it's the only thing that keeps me to a timetable, 4 to 7 p.m. on certain days. I'm not streaming more or less than that though, because I feel like I need to like work like I'm still in normal mode somehow. So, but it's been so strange. I can see there's like a million streamers on like morning, noon, and night now. It's really like, whereas before I was working during the day and there was like one streamer on, now there's like 10. So yeah, I can see that everyone's timetables kind of changed. But we're not talking about changing timetables today. We are talking to Guy. We've got Guy on because Guy's been streaming for a very long time. And we wanted to talk to Guy about his streaming journey, because Guy has gone from, being a tiny, tiny wee streamer to affiliate and then eventually partner. And now you're just riding the partner wave, just doing your thing, just streaming away. So
Just doing my thing. Yeah, no, it's been absolutely crazy. When we first started streaming, it was like, I don't know, there was no real objective. It was just to do it for fun. And I think that's the best way to do it, honestly, because then there's no pressure.
Yeah.
And then just throughout the years, goals change, really.
yeah, of course, because I suppose like any hobby, it might grow arms and legs, or it kind of like it feels something different, I guess, the more that you enjoy it. But let's go back to Ickle Guy. Let's go back to tiny Guy, when Guy was just a tiny wee bairn, just a
Like
little
100 years ago. Yeah.
Hey, you're not that old. We're all the same age here, Guy. Shh, shh, shh.
Yeah, we are all the same age. So we're all very young and youthful.
We're very
Right.
youthful, you
and
guys.
cool. So, shh.
Yo, you guys, down with the kids, etc. Lols, raffle, etc. Okay, Boomer. So tell us, Guy, when you were an ickle child, what were you like as a kid? What kind of games were you into as a little kid?
I played tons and tons of different stuff. I was actually a Sega kid, not like everyone else who all had
Same.
Nintendo. Yeah.
Oh my god,
Nice.
I get constantly belittled by the fact that I didn't have a Nintendo growing up. If
Yeah.
I tell people that the first game I played, the first console I played Smash Brothers on is Switch, people look at me like I've got 2 heads. And I'm like, I didn't have Nintendo consoles growing up.
Oh,
Well, I
no.
started with Sega. We eventually did get Nintendo, but like we had the Sega Master System to start, and then like we got the Genesis after that, and the Sega CD and all that. But we did collect kind of everything. So I did have a Nintendo at some point. We bought it, I remember, secondhand. We never had a Super Nintendo. That's the one big one that I never had. So there's like a lot of games or like like that I've never touched. I've never played Metroid before in any form, and people are like, "What? Like, yeah." But that was all about that Sega life, Sonic
Yeah,
for life.
we were more of a Nintendo household, and then I used to really want a Sega. Like my husband Paul was into Sega stuff, and he had a Sega when he was younger. But my cousin had a Sega, so it felt like whenever we went over to her house, it felt like a real treat getting to play like Sonic and Echo the Dolphin and stuff like that. I was like, oh my god. But I was really into Nintendo, but I never realized there was a thing like if you were Sega or Nintendo. I just was like, oh, you've got that console, I've got this console, so it is what it is. But now, do you find that you enjoy Nintendo games more now as an adult? Like, are you into Nintendo now?
I've been playing nothing but the Switch, like for the last like 2 months, I swear. Like it's been, I got my Switch like in July last year, and I played a little bit of Smash, like a little bit of like Mario Kart, that kind of thing. And then as soon as I'd say the new year kicked around, I'm like, yeah, it's time to play Breath of the Wild finally. So I started playing that, and I was like, holy man, this is good. And then
It's
Animal
an
Crossing
amazing
came out, and I
game.
was like, well, especially while quarantined, Animal Crossing is like the perfect thing to just like turn your brain off. So I've sunk a couple hundred hours into that already.
Oh my god, don't talk to Mel about Animal Crossing. She has been since January. Mel's been like,
Don't.
yeah.
I'm so excited. Literally, I don't think my Switch. I bought as like a secondary console because I've always been mainly a PlayStation person as an adult, and I play my Switch more than anything else now. And Animal Crossing has just ranked that up to like nuclear levels because I am on that hours every single day.
Oh man, I really want to see. It's gone from I had every Nintendo console apart from the Switch. And when the lockdown happened, I really looked into getting Ring Fit and stuff because Mel's
Mm.
boyfriend Inel, who's a friend of the Wii Squad, is on Ring Fit most mornings, and I'm like,
Mm.
oh, this looks good. And not so much for Animal Crossing, but Mario Kart and stuff like that are the things that I miss. But I don't get Animal Crossing, the turnip garden thing or whatever you guys are doing. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. Like, I don't know. Like, are you visiting people's turnip gardens? Are you growing carrots? I don't know what goes on in Animal Crossing.
I don't even know what I'm doing in Animal Crossing either, but it's addicting as hell.
Yeah.
Well, I played the original one too. Did you play the original one too, Mel?
Well, no, this is the thing. Like, because I think I didn't really get a Nintendo of my own until the DS Lite. I didn't actually play Animal Crossing. I was quite obsessed with Professor Layton, and obviously any other kind of Mario games at the time. But other than like Pocket Camp, and when they announced Animal Crossing for the Switch, I got way overexcited and was like, I've still got my DS Lite. I want to play Animal Crossing now. So I jumped onto eBay and found a copy of Wildwoods. So I played that for a bit. But otherwise, New Horizons is my first proper Animal Crossing, as in like I'm doing this for real now. I'm setting up my little island community.
Yeah, this sounds like the Minecraft hole that I've sunk into. We're about to make a big Jurassic World Park world. It's called Wii Park in Minecraft. Anyway, that's a whole other podcast itself. I could do hours on Minecraft now. I'm very obsessed. Let's move away from turnip gardens and Jurassic Park, and let's talk about the first time that you started streaming, Guy. So what were the steps in your head that you came to Twitch? Okay, so were you thinking about it for a long time? What were you thinking when you switched on the PC? Tell us, take us through those steps.
The very first time I heard of Twitch was my brother was telling me about it because I just started playing Hearthstone, and this was 2014. And he was like, if you want to learn how to play certain decks and like get better at the game, watch people play on Twitch. I'm like, what? On what now? And he's like, yeah, go on this website. So I went and I was like, okay. So then I made an account and I followed some really good Hearthstone streamers and started watching them do it. And then I started branching out and watching other people. I'm like, well, what else is on here besides, Hearthstone? I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then just for the heck of it, I was like, let's just stream some Hearthstone. And I didn't have a webcam or anything. I was just on my Mac, and I did it like maybe 4 or 5 times. And I was like, this is weird. I don't like this. But mostly because people would come in and tell me how crappy I was at the game. And I was just like, oh, okay. And half the time I'm not even looking at chat because I'm not used to that, right? I'm just like playing the game. And then I look over at the end of stream and have like 5 comments of how crappy I am. And I was like, Dad, how'd you find my Twitch? Like, come on. So then I didn't stream for, I don't know, probably another 6 months, 7 months, something like that. 2015, dabbled a little bit with streaming on PlayStation. And it was just like, again, for fun here and there. And then a little bit later down the line, I started streaming because I wanted to show off VR because I started getting into game development, and some friends of mine were making a VR game. So I was like, what's a great way to show people how cool this actually is? Because I thought VR stuff was like, oh, okay, like, yeah, it's so cool. Like, you know, like not as neat as everyone said it was. And then I tried it and was like, holy crap, like people actually need to see how good this is. So I was like, we should start streaming it.
What with the VR, I'm very interested in. We can see if you're, watching along live, and even if you're watching after, you can see a little picture of you. Looks like you're in your living room, just doing a wee bit of VR. Like, what was it like to stream VR live? Like, I mean, stream because you can't talk to the chat or anything. You're just doing your thing.
Yeah, at that time it was really tricky. So it would be like I'd have like 1 or 2 mods. It'd be like my brother or one of my friends, and then we'd be like, okay, well, if anyone crappy comes in or asks questions or whatever, I can't see them. You guys have to answer them. Or I would just do like 20-minute sessions and then get off and then catch up on chat and then try to answer any questions that I had. So it was very strange. But then eventually they started developing plugins and stuff where you could see your chat in VR by turning your controller a certain way and things like that. But it's way easier. Like we'll still stream VR once in a while with like my friend Bombardactyl. Like we'll do a VR stream and one of us will be in the headset and the other person will be on chat, and then we can just talk to each other. And it's like, oh, hey, what do you think about this part? And then you can answer chat that way.
Would you ever do a VR stream if you had a VR headset, Mel? Do you think have you ever been tempted to even buy one?
I've done some PlayStation VR when I've streamed with Inel, but then the main thing with me is the fact that I feel that I'm ignoring chat. Like I was just saying, I know there are Steam plugins that you can get, like you said, that now put the chat into the monitor for you, which is brilliant. I've played Accounting, which is the screen grab that's up on up on screen right now. Which is an amazingly weird and wonderful and terrible game.
It looks weird.
Time.
It looks really strange.
So
Claire, you would absolutely love it. I think it's from the writers of Rick and Morty. So if you can imagine that sort of humor.
Okay.
It's very bizarre. But I like doing VR stuff. I'm very into immersive things. Like there's a company called Void who I actually think are American. They tend to do big kind of pop-up events. Like they had one in a shopping center called Westfields here in London, and they had a Star Wars VR which was insane. Basically you're completely free moving, and I got to be a stormtrooper. Everyone was like mapped as full-on VR stormtroopers and the rest of my team. We shot things. We went into a lava pit and you could feel the heat on your face. Like they really,
oh my
really
god,
went to town. No, VR is amazing, Claire. We need to go do some VR-y stuff because I want to drag you into that.
I've only done it once, and it was when I did the Scan stuff. So when Scan were about to give me all my lovely PC stuff, thank you, Scan. We did a little bit of VR with Steve from Go 8-Bit, and we did this racing game, and I felt so sick. It was like this horrible like Formula 1 game, and I was being filmed while I was doing it as well. So I was like trying to breathe in and be like, and like be all kind of like poised and stuff. And then when I came off of it, I was like green. Seriously, they were like, "You okay?" And I was like, "I just need to go to my hotel room. I'm okay." Like I couldn't. I felt so sick. So that's kind of put me off a little bit. I think. I think
throwing you straight into a car racing game as your first VR experience is probably one of the worst things you could do.
Oh, it's so bad. I felt honestly like car sick. It was horrible.
Yeah, the best experiences are like the room scale ones where you actually just put the headset on. You have hands and you can just walk around and do your own thing because it doesn't feel weird. It feels weird if you're sitting down with a controller or if like, you have a steering wheel or something. It's because it doesn't feel natural. But if you're walking around and you have like space boundaries and stuff, it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's much more immersive too, right? Yeah. And there's experiences you can do where it's just like you're just looking around and it's just like, holy crap, like you're under the sea and you're seeing all this crazy stuff going on. Not whipping by these race cars.
F that. Seriously, like F that. I would like to do something. I'd like to try a horror game. I'm really quite screamy with my horror
Oh
streams.
yeah, I would
but-
love to see you do a horror game. Absolutely. And there's some crazy,
I
crazy
second that.
VR. Like, oh man.
I'd like that. I think 'cause I was trying to get through Visage and I couldn't even get through that. I've put the game in the freezer for a moment because I'm just a bit like, okay, this is too scary for me right now. And I will go back to it, but I think I'd like to try a horror game. But back to streaming. Your first setup, Guy, like you said that you were on a laptop and stuff. So take us through the evolution of your setups, just the early days.
The very first setup I had was an iMac that I had for work because at the time I was doing video editing and editing on Final Cut and everything.
Yes.
And I had to download a bunch of secondary like software just to make it go. Like it was like streaming on Macs was not friendly back then. In fact, I remember one time I was streaming on my Mac with my friend playing Don't Starve, and I didn't even realize I was live. Like I was just like,
Oh no.
it was fine. It ended up being fine. But the thing is, the only reason I found out that I was even streaming is because I went into my emails like, you have a new follower on Twitch, and there was a bunch of things. And then I look over at my chat box, and it was like, oh, there's been a couple people hanging out, listening to me and my idiot roommate talk about Don't Starve, and I was like,
Well, at least you weren't
okay,
sitting
like,
there, in your underwear, So that's the main thing. You didn't get caught out just sitting in your underwear scratching your armpits. So
or maybe that's why they followed.
exactly. Oh, who's this scratching their armpits?
Yeah.
Yes. Follow.
So then after that, we started streaming on console because it was just kind of less complicated, even though like the mics and camera were kind of trash. So I streamed a bit from my Xbox and then a bit from PlayStation 4 and played games like, man, on PlayStation 4, I played a lot of Until Dawn. I love that game. I still play that game on stream on occasion because I love those story-based games where you get to make decisions and it's always kind of like fun to see new outcomes and everything. So I actually played that last year with one of my friends and got them to play through because they never played it. It's a perfect Halloween game to play through, right? So the games like that, and then I went to BlizzCon one year, actually, right before Fallout 4 came out. And we just got so hyped up on Fallout 4 coming out because I love Fallout 3 and whatever. And I was like, man, when I get home, I'm going to stream that game like a lot. So I came home and I started streaming that pretty regularly. And that's kind of where like some followers actually started coming back because I would play it consistently over the course of like, a few weeks. But again, it was just on a PlayStation and whatever. And then eventually I got my first PC that I'd had in like years because I started doing VR development. So early 2016 is when I finally swapped over and had like a setup.
Yes.
And it was still basic. I'm still using the same webcam that I had back then, which is like kind of like the introductory standard for a lot of people is the C920.
Yeah.
And I don't know, no green screen or anything. You can see like my bed, all messed up in the background, and it was just like, again, like super casual, not really any idea what to do besides play the game and kind of talk to chat a little bit, but no idea how alerts worked or anything like that. Everything was just very by the seat of my pants, really.
But that's kind of charming. I think those, now your setup's great, but when I'm looking at the picture that you sent me, there's one that I'm going to put up at some point where you don't have a beard. And I'm going to say this about you not having a beard. I don't trust Guy without a beard. Like, I don't trust him. Don't trust your face. You need the beard at all times.
At all, really. Like, beard or no beard. You should follow your gut on that one.
I was like, oh my God. No, this isn't Guy. But yes, I love Fallout as well. But there's something quite charming about seeing someone's room. Like with Mel streams completely... even now with her room in the background, you've got disco lights, the whole thing, and you've got that kind of like setup like that.
I occasionally put a green screen up. When I made the jump from console streaming, because I used to be on PlayStation, again, I also love Until Dawn. Oh my God, what a game.
So
also,
good.
Emily's such a bitch. Just kill her every time.
I wanted them all to die. I was like, die, you bastards, die.
I kind of like, with me, it was less about I have to have X, Y, and Z to be a streamer. I need to be in a racing chair. I need to have a green screen. I wanted to have a green screen because I wanted to have as little impact over the kind of like game as possible. And when I switched over to PC, or even when I started putting the chroma key effect that you can put on PlayStation in the background, a lot of the regulars in my communities there were just like, kind of miss seeing your room. We kind of like it because it's like part of we're there with you rather than you just being there. So with me, it was more of a feedback thing. Although sometimes it's also me being truly lazy because green screens take lighting and time.
Yeah.
Whereas this way I can just sit down and press go live. But I do still use a green screen occasionally. But I know it's very much down to personal preference.
Yeah. I think it just depends on the vibe of the streamer. And when you started, Guy, and you really started to get going in those early days, what were your hopes and streams for what you wanted to do with it? Because obviously we all start streaming and it's like, oh, this is fun, but did you start to get goals? Were there goals that started to sort of fall into your head in those early stages?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted someone to be coming back. Really, that was it.
Mhm.
And the first goal was just to have like, you know, 20 followers, right? And then you get the 20 followers and 50 followers and then 100 followers, and and then it became less about the followers and more about having 2 people come back, and then 3 people come back, and then 4 people come back, because at the end of the day, that's more important than anything. Right?
Yes.
Is people who enjoy the content enough to actually say, oh, so and so streaming today, I'm going to go and watch. And then you hope that they become friends, and then they chill out and chat together, and it makes your job easier because they're talking to each other, they know each other because they're both regulars, and then just slowly it snowballs, right?
Yeah.
So as a goal, it started off definitely about getting followers, because again, at that time I had no idea what was important, and a lot of the things that you would read, especially even now, it's like they focus so much on raw numbers that you get obsessed about, like, oh yeah, I need to make sure that I'm doing all these things to impress people, that way they hit that follow button, and whatever. But it's not about getting them to hit the follow button so much about as it is about getting them to actually engage,
Yes.
because that's more important, right?
100%.
Yeah, and I think again in the early days, yeah, I started with no green screen and things like that, and then as I got a handful of people who would actually come back, I'm like, I should probably make my background look a little less crappy. And going to what you were saying too, Mel, is like, see, your background looks great. If I move this green screen, I'd have to clean up back there. That's also a part of being
well,
lazy.
you can't see behind my chair is there is a mound of stuff that should be tidied, but from this upwards.
Right, I should just get a bigger chair, is what you're saying, right?
Get a bigger chair. Get a really
no, the thing is, the green screen stuff is all cool. If I had a bigger space, like if I had like a dedicated streaming space, I could start using a background. But I will say, for people who are like, gee, I wish I had a green screen and stuff, back in the early days, my first green screen, I went to Home Depot and I bought a big plywood sheet, just a big honking plywood sheet for $8. And then I went to Walmart and I bought construction paper, green construction paper, and I just covered it in that. And then I propped it up on 2 milk boxes, and that's what it has as a background. But for just slowly tweaking it and making it look fine over like the course of a couple months, it looked great. Sometimes it looked like crap because I didn't really understand how to dial it in. But once I figured it out, it was like, And then when I showed people one day, I'm like, man, your stream, like, your background looks so much better now that we can see the game a bit better and whatever. It's like, what, you went and got a green screen? I was like, this is what I did. And then I showed people and they're like, what the? It's like, you don't have to spend a lot of money to make it look okay, right? And again, the thing is now, I think that, having a cool background with all the fancy flashing lights and stuff fits for a lot of people. But again, just for the people who don't have like a background that fits for them, like, you
exactly.
can do it cheaply.
It's right? Like it's what you're comfortable with at the end of the day. I like that I can see Mel's room. I can't see the messy stuff by her left-hand side, which is our right, because she did say that there was some kind of mess on her bed or something. So no, there's no mess just now. No,
it's not too bad today.
I'm saying, what we see off screen is what we don't. It's like what we see off screen. So, and behind me in my green screen, there's like, it's just piles of shit. Quite frankly, just crap. So, Mel, your room's looking lovely. But yeah, I totally get that. I've tried without a green screen, and I was like, no, I've got granny curtains and a pile of clothes. Nobody needs to see that. So green screen all the way. But affiliate, like, first I'm going to ask Mel this first, and then we'll go on to Guy. So Mel, when you became affiliate, was that a thing that you wanted to become? Like, you were like, right, I want to become affiliate. And what did you do to become affiliate? Or did you just stream until it happened? Was it like by chance?
I think with me, like, I think this is probably the same for a lot of people. If you'll give someone sort of certain checkpoints to work towards, and I think the fact that obviously very similar to the path to partner, it's split into 3 sections. you see that as little challenges for yourself. And like, you're not in a race with anyone. You're just like, oh, I wonder if I can get to 50 followers. And then I need to get, 3 average viewers for affiliate. And then I need to stream for, is it 12 days? I can't remember what it is for affiliate. And it was more of a case of, I think, as I was starting to get more confidence in streaming and enjoying streaming, and like Guy said, not just having people turn up, but having regulars turn up and come back and chat, which was really nice. I was kind of like, I would really love to make this more of a community and be able to offer emotes by being able to have people to sub to me to be affiliate. It was never some big money making scheme. Streaming is a hobby to me. It always has been. But it's something that I pour a lot of time and effort into. And the people that spend time watching me bugger about on the internet, time's a really precious thing. And I like to be able to give that sort of thing back. And the way that Twitch is set up, the best way to give back to a community is once your channel is monetized, so that they can then redeem things or use things that you've created that are special for them. So it was never kind of like, this is my big like high money rolling idea, I'm going to become an affiliate and get all the money. I think for me, it's very much kind of having a target and then challenging myself. And then when I hit affiliate, it was kind of like, okay, fine, I've done that now. And now I'm going to fine tweak and continue on. But it's a very delicate balancing act between kind of obsessing over numbers and having it affect your content.
You're right about the numbers. I think, Guy, you brought up a really, really good point about numbers. It's something that I teach the kids at the marketing module that I do about social media, and it very much applies to Twitch as well. When you focus on numbers, it doesn't mean bugger all. You're totally right about engagement. Engaged people are the people that will come back and spend lots of time. So if you've got 10 people in your chat, and there's only 10 people, but they're engaged and they're talking and they're subbing and they believe in you, that's amazing. And that's worth so much more than, I've been into big streamers chats where nobody talks. Nobody's really talking with each other. They're talking at the streamer and there's no communication or connection. And that's why I like Guy's stream, because you can come in, Guy will welcome people in, and then you are free to kind of like start making your connections within that community, which is what it should be, engagement, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Guy, after you made affiliate, what were your goals after that? Did you think about the partner thing? Because there's this whole thing, path to partner, that I think people get very obsessed about. Did you get obsessed about it, or did you think about it?
I definitely got obsessed about the path to partner, but that was way after affiliate. So they announced the affiliate program while I was at a TwitchCon, and I was like, oh, cool. Like, this is the thing that they're going to be rolling out. And it's funny because at that time I was actually streaming on 3 different channels. I had my own channel, and then I had the VR channel I streamed with my friends, and then I would always be a guest on another buddy's stream every once a week. So at that time, it was like, he was already partnered. My buddy was already partnered, so he had his whole thing. And then the VR stream was good, like, but like the numbers and stuff weren't like, it was high enough to hit affiliate, but it wasn't like a super busy stream or anything. And then I was really happy with how I was doing. I was like, I don't know, 20 concurrents or 30 concurrents or something like that. And then when they started rolling it out, I was getting excited because I'm like, oh, all these people are getting their affiliate stuff, and I've got these emotes ready to go, and it's like really exciting. And then like the VR stream we had got affiliated, and I was like, okay, cool. And then about 2 weeks later, I got affiliated. I was like, yeah. And then I rolled out my emotes, and I was like, I should have had a plan for what to do now, because now I'm like, okay, cool, now what? And it's like, shit. Like, I guess I'm just gonna keep doing what I was doing before. Like, nothing really changed. It was just like, it was cool to have people, showing support by spamming their emotes and stuff like that, which is really cool. And then after that, it was like, I don't know, I just kind of put my head down and just kept on doing what I was doing. And then as I got a little bit closer and closer to partner, that's when it started to get really like obsessive. Right? Because again, it's hard not to.
Yeah.
I do say, like, you can't think about the numbers and stuff to a degree, but there's a certain point where, as a human being, and that you're within, you're so close. It's just like, holy man, it just took over for a while.
Well, I think I don't know how you guys feel, Mel and Guy, but when I enjoy something and I really love it, and I love streaming on Twitch, I really, really do, and I can see things working, I want to do more of it, you know. And so
Mm-hmm.
for me at the moment, I'm nowhere near a partner. I can see my averages are going up and up and up. I'm not thinking about it. I'm like, okay, that it is what it is. Um, but I do enjoy it, and I sometimes think, because I'm competitive within myself, so I'm like, I want to, you know, try and do a thing, you know, because if I'm going to do something and I'm going to spend this many hours on it in a week, then I want it to be good, you know. And so that's why I think that's probably one of the only reasons why I want to make partner, because I'm happy with my community, and Mel
Mm-hmm.
can probably say the same. Her community is fantastic. The people that are in there regulars, I like going in. It's like visiting Mel's house. You see all of Mel's family and friends there. You're like, hey, it's Mel. It's the same with Guy. There's Guy's house, yay! And you can like have a laugh with people. But I think, yeah, like I can understand when you're getting that close to the averages of getting it, going, oh my god, what was it like when you actually got that email through? Like what? So what happened then? What did it feel like? Were you just super
Oh man.
excited?
So I've been full-time streaming. Like I was full-time streaming as affiliate. Like
Oh wow.
I do a little bit of work on the side, but I was streaming like full-time, big time full-time. Like, and there was a period while I was pushing for partner while I was streaming like 50 hours a week, probably streaming, and then still doing the behind the scenes stuff and just burning the candle at both ends and just trying to get more numbers, you know, like whatever. And as we got closer, it was like you can see like it's live. There was actually a clip of when I was partnered, and you could see I was just fried. Like I was out of my mind. Like I was only sleeping a couple hours a
Oh
night, and
no.
I knew because I knew it was like so close, and I applied. I think I applied for partner 6 times or something before I finally got it. And that's a common thing. Like you a lot like so those who are applying keep applying. Like it's normal to get rejected a whole bunch of times, right?
Oh, really? I'm
Yeah.
interested. Like, I'm very interested in that. Like, because I've never applied, so I feel
Mhm.
like. So does it matter then, Guy? Have you applied? Actually, before I ask Guy this, Emil, have you applied for partner before, regardless
No,
of
no.
numbers?
I have heard that once you have hit all the milestones, you don't need to do it again. Is that right, Guy? As I understand.
So I
So
don't know because I applied like I got it the, right after I applied after I hit the milestones because I that wasn't a system yet while I was applying
mm,
at the first few times.
Right.
So I'm not sure how it works now, but back then it was like yeah you just you apply. You know there was no they didn't have all those
Ah.
fancy stats and stuff in your dashboard. Now it's a very handy thing to have because you know what numbers they have, right?
mm,
Because the thing is, everyone tracks their stream in a different way. I have 3 different things that I look at the end of every stream and kind of go through and say, okay, well, this says this was my concurrence. This one says this is my concurrence, and they're all a little bit different. But
Yes.
really, the Twitch
yeah.
numbers is the one that matter for applying, I assume. But at that time, I was just like, I don't know, this looks about right. Let's apply and see what happens. Um, and also, I went through and I started going to like conventions and things like that, and I started meeting way more people who were working at Twitch, and I would talk to them about like partnership and things like that, and they're like, sometimes like if you get up like again at that time I don't know how it is now if you got rejected, I just actually started replying like, okay, I understand. Like, do you have any constructive feedback? Why did I get rejected? And sometimes they would reply to you and say like, you're really close, your numbers are good, but just we need more consistency or something like that.
Oh,
Because
okay.
they actually, yeah, they would think about it. They would look at your channel. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, again, numbers aren't absolutely everything. You're not guaranteed to get partner because you hit all of the, like the numbers that they
That's
ask
a
for.
good point, actually. Guy, that reminds somebody put something up. It was, they shall remain nameless, but they put up on Twitter, and they were like, look, 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 and they made all the milestones, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they didn't make partner
Yeah.
because, and I think it was probably because their content might not have been up to scratch, you know. And that's an interesting point because I think people kind of focus on the numbers, you know.
Yeah, that's just it. And again, at the end of the day, like you can have amazing numbers, but you can still like not make partner or just, I mean, I have no engagement. I'm happy with where I am at, where I have a community that like relatively small compared to a lot of other partners, but we're engaged. I'd rather be in a chat that's busy like that, talking to each other and loving each other than a bunch of like people who don't say anything or just a bunch of like 14-year-old kids who just spam floss emotes, like that's not for me. But the
I
thing is, that's the thing.
know.
Like,
Mm.
I started really early building a community like that, like making sure that the people who were there because they wanted to be engaged and not there to, you know, just post dank memes all the time. I mean, there's places you can do that. Go ahead, go live your life, whatever. That's just not what my channel I want. That's not what I wanted my channel to be about.
No,
So
no. I'm kind of the same, Mel. You're probably the same with your channel, right? Like I think you're about engagement, and your channel's very
Yeah.
engaged, like very engaged.
It's less about that whole kind of like, if anyone's spamming or whatever, and they're especially not really contributing to a conversation.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary noise. There's enough of that on
Mhm.
the internet already, and it's not something that I'm interested at all.
Yeah.
I think on a side note, a lot of things people focus on for Twitch partner is just that it's like a verified tick, and it makes you kind of like the biggest, best person with a purple tick next to your name on Twitch. I think what they forget when they do hit the milestones is it's not just kind of like, oh, it's a badge to like swag around and go, hey, look at me, I'm better than everybody else. Not that anyone needs a badge to do that.
No.
You're all better than everybody else because there's only one you.
Yes, exactly.
But I think a lot of people forget when it comes to what you were saying about like feedback. If they were giving constructive feedback at the time, Guy, that's really handy, because I think a lot of people don't really look at a Twitch partnership as basically saying Twitch is looking at you to say, okay, do we want to partner with you? Do you reflect the values of Twitch? Are you someone that we can proudly say is partnered with our site?
Absolutely.
And I think that's where sometimes where people will hit all the milestones and say their content might not be there yet, whether it's to schedule or the type of content or frequency. That's where they're falling short. But I think that kind of goes over people's heads a little bit.
I think so. And I completely agree. And Guy, do you think there are some tricks that people use to become partner? And I'm going to ask Mel that same question as well. And what I'm saying by that is people who don't concentrate on the community aspect like you guys are concentrated and I am on our community. Some people might play Fortnite for a year or something, or a really popular game like Overwatch, and then go, okay, cool, I've made partner, that's it. Do you think some people do that? Is that a thing, Guy? Do you want to start?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a thing. But again, a lot of those, I mean, again, do whatever you want to do. If that's your goal is just to get that tick because you want to or whatever, that's fine. But if you think that check mark is going to make you a full-time streamer and that's going to pay your bills, you're out of your mind, right? So people, I think definitely will strategically play certain games or whatever to hit concurrence they need to hit the whatever just to get either whether it's affiliate or partner or whatever. And yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with that as long as they're doing it within the rules. That's fine, as long as they're not view botting or anything stupid like that. But again, Twitch is smart enough to look at those numbers and say, okay, there's something funny going on here.
Yeah.
And again, if your content, if you're the best player and whatever, you're so good at Fortnite and whatever, but there's nobody talking in your chat, and there's like a couple hundred people in there, you still might not get partnered because they'll be like, this, like, what's happening here? Like, this isn't. I think they're probably looking at it being like, how can we monetize this dial tone of a person, right? Honestly, because like why would, like, I don't know, look at it like if you're hiring somebody, you know, say you run a business and you're going to hire somebody, they might have all the credentials in the world, but if they don't fit, they don't fit.
Yeah,
whether
you're totally
whether they're
right.
just a stupid asshole and you don't want them to work for your company, or they're just a complete, like, there's no revenue source, right? So I don't know. There's a lot of factors I'm sure that they look at, but yeah, I don't know. People, they can definitely manipulate the system to a degree, but as long as they're doing it within the rules, I don't really care.
What are your thoughts on that, Mel? Have you seen people do that, like, just absolutely? Because I see it sometimes with certain streamers, I'm like, oh, look, Call of Duty's out, or Overwatch, or there's a thing, and I'm like, oh, okay, you're just playing this for ages, and sometimes I wonder, what do you think, Mel?
I think there's no there's no shame in maining a game. I think it's probably one of the fastest ways to build up a following. I won't necessarily say a community, a following.
I think they're both very different.
Someone who comes for that game.
Yes.
So I don't know, say you're playing something like Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Which I'm being nagged to play, and I will at some point.
Play it. It's so good.
There's nothing wrong with that at all, but I think it's a quick fix. And the danger is that obviously at some point, if you do get sick of that game or complete that game or do your genocide run and your pacifist run and every other kind of run you can ever think of a game, when you switch games, are you going to suddenly lose 90% of your following?
Yeah.
because they've only been there because you were playing a certain game. I think it's a much harder grind when you're variety streamers like we are, because the selling point has to be us. The one consistent thing in our streams is us.
Yeah.
Fair enough, it might be a style of game you play. Like, I play narrative heavy stuff. I love decisions have consequences. I love detective things. Anything a bit creaky and retro, that sort of stuff. So you can still have your niches as a variety streamer, but I think you build a community better that way, because you've got a lot of shared nostalgia with people. They're more interactive streams because people will be talking to you about things. Rather than something like if you're playing a combat game strong, like constantly, rather than someone going, "Yay, GG, you did it! Oh, you should have parried then." Oh wow, blah 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 blah, and it's just like I think it opens other avenues for other kind of chat within your chat that isn't just game centric.
100%.
And I think that's what people come back to when they want to come back and talk to other people in that community, because they're having normal conversations, not saying gaming conversations aren't normal, but as in like other conversations that aren't game centric.
Exactly.
And it becomes an extra aspect of socializing for them.
Exactly.
So it's like, oh, it's Friday night. I know, what do I do on Friday nights? Oh, it's 9 o'clock. I'm going to go hang in this stream with the other guys I usually talk to, and we're going to watch Guy play Animal Crossing.
Yes, and also I come to Guy's streams for the music sometimes, because I'm like, he plays some good background music. I'm sure I heard you play Toto's Africa or something at one point. It was in the early days.
That's my notification for subs, is Toto's Africa.
That's when I knew. I was like, I like you. It's like, I trust a man that likes Toto. Let's just put it that way. Definitely
nothing wrong with Toto.
Nothing
what an
wrong.
Absolute banger.
I love the retroness, and that's why I go to like Mel's channel, because I'm like, okay, I get Mel's references. Here we've got very Golden Girls-y sounds and like the presence of the USA sounds going on. So there's people of a certain vibe that kind of get it, and I think that is important. But yeah, following is different from community. So different. But Guy, when you became partner, so that fateful, wonderful day when you became partner, the next day you wake up, what changes are being made to your stream? Have you made any changes to your stream since being partner? What happened?
I slept a lot after I got partnered.
Sleep.
That was nuts. So at that time I was doing split streams. So I would do a 4-hour stream in the morning, and then I would stream again in the evening, however long I wanted. So I would do Stardew Valley in the morning, and PUBG a lot of the time in the evening or something like that. And then so as soon as the day I got partnered, it was a thing. They were doing this thing to make a video at Twitch. So they would hop into people's chats and be like, check your dashboard. And then they would just like a bunch of like staff members would hop into your chat and just raid you, and it was just wild. So they raided me, and I was like, oh my god, like it's this. If they came in here to say check your dashboard, and then it's like you're not partnered, and be like, ha ha, I'd be like, I'm done. Like,
JK.
no way. JK, you loser, you suck. Try again, nerd. No, so like I was just like overwhelmed, because again I was exhausted. So they came into chat and I was like, oh my god, and I was just like, I opened my email, I got the email, and I was like, oh my god, and they were just like, I was just so relieved that I finally did it. And again, it wasn't because like, oh, now I've made it. It was just a personal goal, because like a lot of things don't change. Like really, it's like a lot of things don't really change that much. You feel like, okay, the sense of accomplishment for sure. A lot of companies will look at you and say like, oh, okay, you take this seriously enough to work hard to get your partnership. So I think it helped a lot for things like securing sponsorships and things like that. But really I didn't change that much. I just was like, we did the thing. Like, thank goodness we did the thing. Like, it was just like such a long grind and whatever to do it. But yeah, at the end of the day, like pretty much not much.
Damn, right. Okay.
I went and I secured some sponsors. That's what I did right after.
See, I was hoping for like Guy's beard to change to turn into gold overnight or something.
Oh God. No, but God.
I would love
so
that.
Ages ago, back when, even before we were affiliated, we used to use this thing called like Revlo. This is like a point system. This is before like Twitch had their own channel points and things like that. And one of my mods, who's the biggest friggin' troll, like said, "Hey, how many points for you to dye your beard?" And I
Oh
was like, "I'm not
no.
gonna dye, like, no." And I can't remember what it was. I said something like 1,000,000, and I said 1,000,000 points. Just said, "Okay, when?" And it was like, "I don't know. You have 2 months." And I'm like, "There's no way." And then on the last day, in the last hour, one of my best friends, who just he lurks all the time, whatever, he hadn't cashed in a single point. He came in and dropped like 500,000 points or something stupid like that, and I had to go and friggin' dye my beard because I'm not gonna go back on my word. So like, and like, look at this thing. So like, so we did it on stream. I had my friend come over and we had to bleach it multiple times, and then I freaking dyed it purple, and it was like the worst.
Amazing.
Yeah, and then,
Mel
again,
loves
this was-
purple. Mel loves
love
purple as
purple.
well.
I'm expecting glitter. Purple and glitter.
I've done glitter. Okay, I did glitter for Christmas one time, but that wasn't. It was still bad, but it wasn't as bad as the beard. Because like I was still at that point, I was still going out and doing like film work and stuff too. So I remember like going out and like filming for a couple days, and so many little old ladies would actually come up to you and they find you more approachable because you got this quirky purple beard, and just like, oh, I just love your beard. And I was just like, God, I hate humanity so
Oh, I
much.
love it. Oh my
But-
god, I love that.
Yeah, since then I was like, I'll never do that again. And people ask like, would you shave it? Well, how much to shave it? You have idiots come into chat all the time like, I'll donate this much money if you shave your beard. And I'm like,
Really?
yeah,
Oh.
all the time. And I'm just like, when I first started streaming, I was like, I don't want the beard to be a thing. And then it just slowly
it's a
became a
thing.
thing, and I was like, I'll just keep it, whatever. And now it's like I've had it for so long that the only way I'll shave it is if I hit a certain gigantic goal on a charity stream one day, because then it's worth it for me to look
Okay.
like an untrustworthy Canadian, right?
Don't trust you without your beard, guy. You need to keep it
Yeah,
at
right.
all times. I don't think I would trust you with glitter or a purple beard either. It has to just be like that. So stop trolling, poor
They'll never
guy.
stop.
Stop
They'll
trolling.
never stop.
I love that the old ladies found you more approachable. Like as soon as you turn it purple, it's
Yeah.
like, "Hi, my name is Guy. Friends to everyone over 75.
Yeah.
Come on,
It's
bring
like for some
bring it."
reason there's like, yeah, it's just, oh, it's quirky, like, oh, and they'll just come up and just like touch your arm, like, I just had to say I love your beard.
Oh,
Alright,
I
yeah.
love that. Kind of creepy, but also cute.
Yeah. Right.
Like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, right.
It's a weird thing that I didn't really consider that. I don't know, Mel, did you consider that thing that maybe bearded streamers, it's their thing to have a, like, people start to go, oh, look, there's your beard. Because in real life, my Paul's got a beard and long hair. And
Mhm.
people always call him Beardy Paul if there's more than multiple Pauls. Or they always comment on his hair being long or his beard. And he's had a beard for friggin' 18 years that I've known him. And it's just a thing, and he hates it. He's just like, I hate it. I hate that it's a thing. People have to mention it. Sometimes people touch it. He's like, just seriously. I never considered that. Mel, did you ever consider the beard being a thing?
No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe it's just like a modern time type thing. Like most men are like clean shaven, or they have a little bit of stubble because apparently that's sexy. Whereas like Victorian time guy would not stick out in a crowd at
Yeah.
all. Everyone would have a glorious beard. They probably have handlebar moustaches to go with them as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Nice little bit of wax on the side.
Victorian guy would be very dull. He would be very
Yeah.
dull.
Right.
2020 guy is hot shit.
It's all about the beard. All about the beard.
Yeah.
It's about the beard. Yeah.
2020 guy, this is your time. You wouldn't be making partner back in Victorian times.
No way.
No way at all. No way.
Yeah.
So, Guy, give us some tips, Guy, for this journey. Now, you said there's no one way to go from zero to affiliate to part. I mean, it's just your journey is your journey, but I'm sure you have some little pearls of wisdom. So,
Sure.
give us some tips.
Well, again, depending on what your goals are, like I needed to have like an engaged community. So in the early days, I just cared about following and just someone being there, and I would put up with a lot of like kind of bullshit in chat and trolls and things like that, because hey, it's another person in chat and at least it's something. Screw that. If they're toxic, get them the hell out of there, because they're just gonna discourage other people from hanging out. So, but again, in the early days, I was like, well, I don't want to ban this person because then I only have 2 people in chat. Who cares? Get that idiot out of there, because they're keeping other people away. And that's something that I learned by talking to a lot of like more successful streamers, right? Like I went to TwitchCon and I did a bunch of panels, and that was one thing that they were like, listen, it's nice to have people there, but if they're crappy people, more crappy people will come. So I started I put my foot down on that stuff, and it really helped a lot, because then all of a sudden it wasn't like you're not like trying to like figure out who the nice people are, and like you don't want to upset somebody because they'll leave. Just do your own thing, and don't let some, you know, troll basically run free in your chat, because it's gonna make other people walk away, right?
Very good. Yeah, very good tip.
And another thing that helped me a lot was I watched a couple Let's Plays on YouTube, just because I wasn't used to talking. Because if you're streaming to 0 people, why would you talk? There's nobody there. But you don't know when someone just pops into lurk for a minute, and then they'll sit there for 10 seconds and be like, this guy hasn't even said anything, and then they leave. Even if you're just doing a stream of consciousness thing, right? And you're playing like a story game, just talk about what you're doing. Like, oh, I wonder what's over here, blah, 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 blah. You get used to doing that, and like you'll be surprised. People will stick around, because oftentimes they just want to hear a voice in the background. They're not even watching what's happening. So that helped me a lot too.
Okay.
So those are 2 really big things that I would say helped. And then consistency, right? If you're don't have a schedule or whatever, that's fine. If you're just getting your feet wet, that's whatever. But if you're trying to actually grow, stream at the same time, X amount of days a week, have a schedule, and stick to it. Treat it like it's a job a little bit, because that way people know, like, oh, it's 6 o'clock on, you know, a weekday. Let's go and see what's going on.
Good tips, guys. Those are really good tips. I think they're good tips in general for streaming. What do you think, Mel? You want to add to anything just in general to streaming?
I think guys hit the nail on the head there. I think the hardest thing a lot, and when I talk to people, say to me, oh, I'm thinking about starting, because I talk about it a lot to my non-gaming friends, and they're just like, oh, I don't understand what that is. Or I'll have new people come into the community and be just like, I really want to start, but I don't have this, that, and the other. And I'm like, first of all, you don't need any of that fancy equipment. You can do it from your console. See how you feel. But the important thing that I think Guy really touched on is talking.
Yes.
It's the weirdest thing to do in the first place. And what I would recommend is, especially when you first start, is watch back your VODs. You're not being narcissistic. You're seeing what everybody else is seeing when they come in.
Absolutely.
So if out of nerves you're repeating phrases, or you're umming a lot, or you're erring a lot, you can start to pick up on that and kind of train yourself out of it slightly. And also you will get more comfortable in front of a camera. I used to err a lot when I first started streaming, and then I would watch my VODs back and be just like, okay, that was a bit weird. I shouldn't have done that. And it was almost like I was producing myself while being myself.
Yeah,
it's like, whoa. But yeah, that's I'd say that's a very big thing, is basically getting used to talking to people who aren't here, even if they're not in your chat yet, because there will be people in your chat, and when they do come in, you want them to stay.
So I came at streaming from such a different angle, because I already chat to camera and do all that for work. And so I'm happy to talk to myself like a crazy person. That was never an issue. I was like, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing that. And Paul would occasionally come in in those early days and be like, okay, she's just gone mad. But I'm like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Oh, what's this? Oh, because that's what I'm sort of been trained to do the presenting stuff. But for me, the tip that Guy said about the get the assholes out the chat quite quickly, that is something that I had to learn the hard way sometimes, because you do think, I don't want to upset anyone, but actually you're upsetting more people by letting a stinker in. Do you know what I mean? Like a bad egg. So getting rid, I think all of the tips are really good, but for me that really connected to me, because now if I hear or see something, I'm like, cut them out, just edit them out. I don't even think about it twice. Out, you're gone. That's it. No, zero patience. Guy, now, how has streaming changed since you started, right? So Twitch versus Mixer and things like that, like, well, how is streaming changing now? Because now, apart from the lockdown, everyone's talking about live video. This is like the new thing.
I think it's great, honestly. I think, and again, a lot of people are trying it for the first time and whatever, and I think it's great. It's a new form of entertainment, right? I think that more and more people definitely know what it is. And it's a legitimate form of entertainment, and I think that if people are interested in trying it, definitely try it. I think it's changing and growing, and it's only going to get bigger. right? So I'm excited to see what the future is going to be for streaming. And it's also going to be interesting to see where people who have been streaming full time, what they do a couple years down the road, whether or not they turn streaming into something else, like another show or podcasts and things like that, or other ways to branch out, or if they just stream for as long as they can, and then But again, we don't know what the future is going to be for this form of entertainment, so it's going to be really neat to see.
Do you think, and this is a question to both of you guys, because I've been asked by a few people, how do you stream? How do you do this? How do you do that? A few people sometimes ask me, how do you be a presenter? I want to be a presenter too. And I always think these things are hard because I don't think everyone's cut out to be a presenter. Like, I'm not cut out to do certain jobs. My strengths, I write, I'm not a really good writer, so my thing is talking and being in front of camera. And it's the same with streaming. I don't think not everyone's cut out. So what would you say to people going, I want to be a streamer? Can anyone stream, do you think? Or does it take a certain person?
Anyone can literally stream, yeah, sure. But not everyone can, will enjoy doing it. That's the thing. A lot of the time is people they'll do it and they'll be like, yeah, it's not for me. Yeah. But at least you tried. Like, that's great. Which is another point for what Mel was saying. You don't need to invest a lot of money in equipment and stuff. Try it first, because I've seen a lot of people be like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to become a streamer. I'm going to buy all this stuff. And they make this big fancy streaming setup, and then they do it. And they're like, I did not like that. I just spent a lot of money on stuff that I'm never going to use. And it's like, well, that's unfortunate. Like, you get the practice in first, right? Like, just, try it out and dabble and, do that. That's more important first. And I don't think that even if you suck at the beginning, because everyone sucks at the beginning, don't get discouraged. At least try it. If you're really passionate about it, practice and see how it goes. Don't quit after 1 or 2 streams, but also don't be upset if you don't make it, because I mean, a majority of people aren't gonna be full-time streamers or whatever. Do it as a hobby. Do it because you like it. And if you do it and you make a bit of money and you don't like it, it's not going to be worth it for you. You do it because you like doing it. Because again, it's a lot of work.
Exactly, exactly. I like the idea of being a top runner. I'm not going to go buy the expensive Adidas trainers and start doing the thing. So it's like, just baby steps, baby steps. What about you, Mel? Do you think anyone's cut out to be a streamer? Is there a certain type of personality, do you think, that's better than others at this kind of thing?
I wouldn't say a personality as such. I think it helps if you're more outgoing. Although, weirdly, me and Claire have spoken this before, we're both extroverted introverts. Like, we both enjoy our own company. We can be very quiet in new surroundings, around new people. Like, we're not like these wild, bubbly people. But at the same time, once we're comfortable, we kind of come out of our shells.
Yeah.
I would say that everyone, yes, can stream. But the number one thing is, if at any point you're uncomfortable or you don't enjoy it, you shouldn't continue to be pressured. If it's not bringing you joy, don't do it.
Exactly.
Don't do it. And there, like I was saying, don't think, oh God, I'm really crap. I've tried twice and my setup looks terrible and I don't know what I'm doing. None of us know what we're doing. There's no rule book to start streaming. Like, everything when it comes to streaming or content creating or anything, it's an evolution. Like, I started off streaming from a PlayStation with no lights, with a crappy headphone mic, and over a number of years I've upgraded my setup, and because it's something I enjoy, it's a hobby I have a passion about, and I think that's what's most important. It's not an easy way to make a quick buck, because as Guy was saying, even full-time streamers still have other jobs. Because Twitch, like any other kind of content creation, or YouTube or Mixer, because you are reliant on your interaction, it will dip up and down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm sure everyone at the moment's probably either noticing, to varying degrees, either increases in their viewers or decreases in their viewers and their subs because of what's going on in the world right now.
Absolutely.
And that's, even if we weren't in lockdown because of COVID, like, that is something that happens naturally throughout a year and a content creator's life. So I think you need to go into it for the right reasons, and kind of circling back to what Guy was saying about having the right people in your community,
Absolutely.
is making sure that you're surrounding yourself in your community with the right sort of people. Because if you have depressive, whingy, trollish people in your community, then your streams will give off that vibe. Even if that's not you, then that is the general aura, and it's not good for anyone's mental health. And I think in that kind of case, those people maybe not. I think telling them to not stream is an extreme thing to say.
No,
But
yeah,
I
no,
think,
that, yeah.
but I
Don't
think
stream, go home and shut up.
It's going to really affect you. No, I think it's something that you need to make sure that you take stock of.
Yeah.
Because if you let a community run wild, or you just don't moderate them at all, you're not creating your own little baby of a community like myself and Claire have, because we always say about our little arms and legs on our community, because they start to walk and talk and do stuff by themselves without you having to be there.
People have got all sorts of shit going on without me having to be there now. I feel like a proud mum. You've learned how to walk, you guys. Yes.
No, what you end up with is like a three-headed snake that is biting wildly in multiple directions, and you've got no control over it. And I think in those situations, and if it's going to affect you or your well-being in that manner, that those people possibly should take a step back from streaming.
100%.
Rethink why they're streaming in the first place.
Good, sage advice from both of you guys. And in terms of community, like you guys all know Mel, like in our community is super, super friendly, super lovely. What about you guys? Hey, We Squad. And what do we call the Mel? What do you call your community, Mel?
See, we've been talking about names and I haven't come up with one.
I mean, just the Malulas, the Melites. The Melites sounds kind of culty.
It all sounds like I'm trying to get them to drink the Kool-Aid. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So,
that's why I'm like, I've always wondered. I'm like, so I sometimes pop in and go, hello, Melites. That sounds really wrong, but hello. But what about you guys? Tell me about your community. First of all, do you have a name for them, or what are they like? For those who are just tuning in or watching this afterwards, what are your community like? Why should we go hang out with your guys and your gals?
Well, like you were saying earlier, like they're the most friendly people, like the most welcoming people, and that's what I'm really happy to be a part of, is like to have such a great community of people who are engaging and welcoming to new people. So when people come in and they say hi, a lot of people say hi. Hey, what's going on? What's going? And everyone just small talks and chit chats and are very welcoming. And if someone is a troll or an asshole, people in chat, a lot of time I don't even have to do anything, because chat will just be like, hey, that's not cool. Like they'll stick up for each other. They look out for each other. And again, the community goes beyond Twitch as well, right? Everyone's got Discord channels and things like that for a reason. And it's not just to announce when you're going live. It's to build more of a community. So within our community, we have channels for Animal Crossing. We have channels for creative and things like that. So people can show off things that they make themselves. I have a channel in my Discord that's just dedicated to people who stream, who want to announce when they're going live, and people build their own little streams up and get affiliate and things like that. And it's super engaging and helpful. I'm very happy with, like, again, how kind and generous and welcoming like my community is, and that's something I'm proud of. And again, that's part of being a variety streamer. I think, like Mel was talking about earlier, building the community is such a huge part of it, because unless you're maining one game, you need to have a community and personality to get those people to come back. And the fact that people come back says something about you're doing something right, because they feel comfortable being there. So I think I have the friendliest freaking community on Twitch, honestly.
Oh, so sweet.
Take that, Mel. Take that, Claire.
Actually, you know what? Guy, I'm gonna say that we all have. Look at this guy. Who's really got the friendly community? I'm reaching out, Guy. You're pitting us against each other. What's going on here? Get that, trolls, get on it. Get his beard dyed gold. We want that beard gold. That's what you're getting. I'm gonna start spamming that in your chat. Gold beard. That's what I want to see. Guy, it's been absolutely lovely to talk to you. Really, really lovely. For those who are watching on YouTube afterwards, You will not get to see the Q&A. That's just for Twitch. For those that are watching along live and you've got a question for Mel, who's been streaming for ages, and also Guy, any questions you like about setup, streaming, community, whatever you like, please get your questions ready and I'll tell you when you can ask them and then you can hit go. For now though, where can we find you lovely people? Online, that is.
I'm on Twitch at TheRealGuyJudge. I'm on Twitter at TheRealGuyJudge. TheRealGuyJudge. It's all TheRealGuyJudge.
Cool. On brand. Mel, where are you? Mel?
I am on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube as her name is Malula.
So it's just her name is Malula for Mel. It's The Real Guy Judge for Guy. Please make sure you get on Twitch and follow these two lovely people. It has been absolutely wonderful. I'm Wee Claire on Twitter and Wee Claire here everywhere else. So yeah, that's me. So guys, this was Crossing Streams podcast. Thank you very much, Mel.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guy.
Thank you very much. Very happy to talk to you guys.
We are available on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. We will see you again very soon. Take care. Bye.